Welcome to the Real Talk Weekly podcast, where we discuss news, culture, life, and dive into deep conversations about our faith. Here's your host, Alan Reed.
Fancy Feast, the cat food company announces plans to feed humans.
Delicious.
I love cats.
And a new study finds that digital religion is making faith experience richer for millennials.
Digiligion.
There you go.
Yeah, that works.
Great. That's gonna set
out.
some people off right there. We're gonna discuss this and many more things today at the Real Talk Weekly podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck
yeah, we are.
Yes, I'm Alan Reed, host of the show, and we have with us today David Bullard and Allie Woolard. I love saying y'all's last names together. It's just
Willy.
You guys, it's like you're related.
Nope.
Bullard and Woolard.
We're not.
Yeah.
But we do. There is a David Woolard in our side of the family.
There is.
And there's a.
Whoa.
There's
you
not
have a Michael Bullard on your side?
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Oh, that's crazy.
My father-in-law is David.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And her husband
Fun
is
fact.
Michael.
Fun fact with our team.
And my brother's name is Michael.
So you guys have probably learned this by now. If you've watched the show, we hand out some dishes, which are some kind of crazy, fun, silly
Dishes.
News articles. They're not really news. They're probably too silly to be news, but
Oh, they're news.
yeah. Okay. They're news.
Because they would be new to someone else. So that's news.
We hope they are.
True. And then we're going to do a deep dish. And that's something a little bit more thought-provoking, sometimes controversial. But it's to help us to think seriously about things that are going on in our world, typically from a spiritual and a Christian perspective. So we're going to be doing that today, but we have an icebreaker that we'd like to start off with first. And so as we were brainstorming like 3 minutes ago before we turned on the camera, we decided that we were going to pull out our phones and the very first, I guess it's the last picture that you have saved, which would be the oldest picture. Am I describing that right?
Sure.
Your oldest
picture.
picture.
What is the first
on your
picture
phone?
on your
The first picture, yes,
Yeah.
on your
the
phone.
Very
It
first.
depends on which way you're counting.
Right, yeah. And so what is it? And tell us.
Also, we're posting these.
Yes, you
We
will
are.
see
Yeah.
these.
Yep.
If you're listening to it on audio, please go to YouTube and
you can
first
watch it.
like and subscribe.
I mean, we can put them on the Instagram too.
That's true. We could put them on Instagram.
So,
So
who wants to go first?
I'll go first. This is a weird first photo because it's not a more recent. It was saved in 2014, but it is not a recent photo of me or my siblings. Let me show you said picture. Let me preface by saying this was at the local sock hop at the elementary school.
If I was to say this, you guys would laugh because you would think,
Well, we had sock hops back
were
in the day.
normal.
did you?
Yep.
You just wore your regular clothes. We actually had to dress up.
Got him.
Oh, there comes that comedian.
Yeah. All right, here's the picture. It is of me and my two sisters, and I am
That
when
doesn't.
the
Aww.
grease, whatever you call them,
Grease ball.
grease ball. Sure.
Just kidding. It's
I think my
a
mom
greaser.
actually, you can't really tell because the picture is potato, but that there is a candy cigarette rolled up in my sleeve.
Ooh.
Yep.
Did you smoke it?
Yes, Alan, I
Did?
smoked the candy cigarette. That was the craziest trip I've
sorry.
ever been on. And you know it is the
Sugar
sock
high.
hop because, i.e., the record
The
behind
record on the
on the wall. But both my sisters are in poodle skirts, and there you go. That's probably circa 2000, maybe 1999.
Was it elementary? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Elementary is the only place that does sock hops anymore, I think. Could fix a lot of problems if you brought that into high school. So.
Yes. So true.
Which is funny
Safer
because
dance.
I always thought poodle skirts were like maybe just like the cut of the skirt, but it literally is you put a poodle
poodle.
on the,
And that
on
was
the skirt.
before my time, by the way. We did not have those when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I was in the 80s.
Yeah.
We wore cool stuff. We rolled up our jeans, though. I think we were the first ones to do that. I
The
see,
tight
I see
roll?
some of you guys, rolling the tie. We did that 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
So you want to do yours first? You want me to show mine?
You're showing it, so
Yeah,
why don't you go?
showing it. It's like, you want to
He's really excited about it.
So here's mine. I'll zoom in. So living in Fort Collins, Colorado, we were only like an
dear.
hour.
No moose.
That is
Oh,
not
moose.
a deer.
That's an elk.
Oh, elk.
Yes, it is an elk. Yeah. And so this was in Estes Park. Yep. up near the top. So this is about 12,000 feet. And you see elk all the time. It was so fun.
That's quite the rack of antlers there.
Yeah, when we live in there, we could just drop off the kids. We could be up in Estes Park.
So you just drop the kids off in Estes Park and let them roam?
Yeah, we would drop them off at school and we would go play, and then we'd come back in time to pick them up. So you just didn't
leave them at the park? No,
we left them at school, just hoping that they wouldn't get sick. Or, if you listened to last week that they didn't steal a lunch ticket and we had to go pick them up. Anything like that. So anyways, but that's my first one on there.
That's a good one. What year?
That was in 2015.
Wow.
So that was an old picture too.
That's good.
At 8:34 a.m.
Wow. It's up there early. 12,000 feet?
Yeah. We got up early.
Golly. All right, mine is also from 2015. And actually, let me see. It's probably, we're almost, how many years is that? 7 years to the day, almost.
Wow.
It is a selfie of myself and my...
What was the date?
2015.
2015.
What's September?
September 3rd. It was a Thursday. No,
the 4th.
Alan.
One day apart.
That was a Friday.
Like, we almost linked.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, go ahead.
Two very different photos.
Yes. So what were you doing?
I am with my college roommates. Oh, wow.
Wow.
With my college roommates at a Kelly Clarkson concert.
Nice. Kelly
in
Clarkson.
Little Rock. Yeah. And Pentatonics. And we bought the cheap seats. They were like $30, $35.
That's a lot of money for Kelly.
Dang. Well, Kelly Clarkson will never listen to this podcast.
Yes. Sorry, Kelly.
She's really good. She was also like 7.5 months pregnant. And she like still did everything full out. It was phenomenal.
That's like one of those people that you see running around on stage singing at the same time, having a baby, or maybe not having a baby, but
on
carrying a
stage.
baby.
Oh my gosh!
Can you imagine?
No, I don't want to imagine.
I meant to say carrying a baby.
Oh sure.
Yeah, that's impressive.
We got there and they upgraded our seats. We got moved right to the stage.
Wow!
I was like, that's why you just are kind to everyone. That's why.
She went to high school right down the road from where I was a youth pastor. She was probably in high school at the same time.
Did you try to evangelize her?
She may have been, and she may have come visit. She probably did visit our youth ministry because it was like, we had like 30 or 40 kids.
Oh my God.
So you should have known
this was way back. We were in Joshua, Texas. Kelly, we were in Joshua, like right down the road from Burleson, Texas, where you grew up. So anyways.
How do you know all this fun facts about Kelly Clarkson?
I just remember when she originally came on the show from Burleson, Texas.
Yeah.
So
I do have a lot of fond memories of American Idol.
Yeah, I was going to say, remember when everyone watched American Idol back in the day?
This is a good day.
That was the first season of American Idol.
We watched it a lot.
Do you remember who lost to Kelly Clarkson?
The guy with the curly hair?
Rigatoni. I don't remember his last year.
I never remember the names.
It's from Kelly to Justin to Kelly.
Yeah, I don't remember. Justin Giardini.
They kind of made it where it sounded like
Ghirardelli chocolate.
Like maybe they had a thing for each other.
That was
it was part of the show.
It probably was, like, because they obviously didn't date afterwards.
From Justin to Kelly.
Great film.
Justin, Giardini.
That helped a lot.
Guarini.
I'm glad you looked that up.
Giardini.
We're not Italian. You know that based off of our last podcast as well.
Yeah, they would have loved that spill.
I think it's probably time for us to. We're going to move on to our dishes now. Very good.
Speaking of dishes.
Speaking of dishes.
We're going into the dish.
David, you can go ahead and give us the first dish.
Feed us that fancy feast.
Yeah, so literally, here's a dish.
This was an interesting article.
So the article is about cat food brand will let humans eat its latest fancy feast. So fancy feast, right? Mm-hmm. Delicious food for cats.
Yeah.
But typically it's edible for humans.
As you pop open a top of fancy feast and bing,
that
dinner.
Strong gravy.
Yeah, it really just hits you right in the face. So apparently they thought it was a good idea to have apparently a like world-renowned chef, I forget who it was, come in like, here you go. It's Cesare Casella? Sure. Apparently a Michelin star winning Italian chef. Okay.
You need to work on pronouncing.
I know.
It's all the Italian.
Yeah. Clearly I'm not
Take
Italian.
Italian.
So they had her come and oh my gosh. No, okay. I was insane. I was like, there's another name on here that I was like, wait, is that the chef? No, it was the chef. So they had them come in and do a fancy feast style bistro, Italian bistro.
Was it cat food?
It does not say that
clear.
they did not use cat food. So that's very disconcerting.
And you know, all those cooking shows, they're like elevated whatever dish.
Right.
Or if you're playing like the grocery games,
You have to use the ingredients they give you.
Yeah. So this is just that to the next level. So apparently this was located in New York City.
That makes sense.
West Village and Meatpacking District, which is ironic. One, because cats, and two, cat food.
Yeah.
But why they thought this was going to be a good idea, why anybody would want to come eat fancy
I was trying to see if I could find
styled
like
food.
the after, because it's already happened like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like mid-August. And I didn't have enough time to find. I found an article, but it was the day of. So I don't know.
It was temporary. So it's
A little pop-up.
that's the only good idea they had about this thing is that they weren't going to
It was
actually
just
make a
a 2-day
restaurant.
thing.
It was a temporary
I
thing.
was thinking they were making a restaurant. It was just going to be human food, but it was going to look like cat food.
Once
I'm like,
again,
Which honestly
why?
might be worse.
Have you guys ever
That's-
eaten
that is
cat
worse.
food before?
No.
Not
Have
on
you?
purpose.
A dog food, but not cat food.
I
Oh,
believe it,
gross,
Alan.
man.
My dad.
Why?
My dad will.
I just
do
will
that
try
too.
just about anything.
Maybe it's
Really?
a dad thing.
Maybe it is a dad thing. Aren't you curious about what things taste like?
No, because I
Not
smell
at all.
them. You can smell it.
Since I don't have a cat, so I bet you I would have tried it.
Okay, well, I'm bringing
As long as it's
Fancy
not gonna
Feast
kill
next-
me. Yeah,
next show we're
As
gonna
long-
do.
If you eat it, I'll eat it.
Oh,
No, definitely not
my
eating it.
gosh. No.
I've eaten a lot of things in my life.
Stealing meal tickets for cats.
Oh
from
my-
cats.
I've eaten.
Not today, kitty.
You're stealing meal tickets from
Yes.
people, and then you go around and like steal their cans before they get them.
The
cats.
I'll just
Why
sample
steal a
food
meal
periodically.
ticket when you can just eat dog food? You know?
Yeah. I mean,
Fine.
sometimes it might be the same at school cafeterias, especially in the 40s.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
The weirdest thing I've ever eaten?
Haggis.
What?
Haggis.
It's sheep.
Sheep
Intestine.
intestine cooked in.
Isn't it Irish or no, not Irish? Scottish. Scottish.
Yeah,
It's a delicacy.
Speaking of cat food, very similar.
Similar, yeah. I just it's like tuna fish, right? And like a lot of cat food, just tuna.
No, they have chunks of chicken and
fish.
Beef.
Yeah, I guess they
Our
do.
cats get a
See,
lot of,
I didn't grow up with
interesting flavors.
cats. I mean, we did have a cat when I was little, but I think he just ate. I'm sure my mom fed the cat,
think
but he was
he
an
just
outdoor
ate
cat.
mine.
He
So
probably-
hold on. Going
He was
back
a
to
rough cat.
Going back to
One-eared
the
cat.
question,
Yeah.
you said
Street
I've
cat.
eaten a lot of weird things in my life. Was dog food the weirdest thing that you've ever
I
eaten?
feel like it's a no.
There's no
No,
way. What
I've
is the
eaten-
weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
I've eaten a dog.
You've eaten dog.
I've eaten dog in South Korea. It was like an initiation.
Oh, no. No.
To what cult?
A South
It was.
Korean.
It was like it was a bunch of
Or a
guys.
gang?
It was
A gang.
college
Yeah, it
guys.
was a gang.
Yeah, it was a bunch of college guys, and they took me out to eat, and they were surprising me where we're going to go, and and I had no idea. Like it wasn't even on my mind that that's where we were going to go.
I'm, like,
And we went
stressed
to a
out a
place
little
that was.
Remind me
So-
not to bring my dog up here.
I think the weirdest thing that I've ever eaten is unagi. Which is
Brain?
no.
Oh, you
Have you
pointed.
never seen Friends?
I have, but
Unagi.
Yeah.
I forgot what it is.
Unagi. It's freshwater eel.
Oh,
Ew.
It was not good.
Doesn't sound
Yeah.
good.
But that's the
Squid.
weirdest
Maybe
thing.
saltwater eel would have been better.
Yeah, add a little salt to it,
Yeah.
you know. I did it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I've eaten silkworm, squid, fish eyes. I've eaten a lot of stuff.
And you're still here.
Still here, healthy.
You're still kicking.
Look at me now.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Not me.
Yeah, maybe I ate a
An
little bit too
alumni
much.
of a South Korean gang.
Yeah.
That is interesting. That would, yeah. I was curious about. I would love to see what the food looked like. I would hope it would look like cat food. Otherwise, it's like, why make it?
I bet
It's
you
gotta
there
be
were
a-
influencers that went to it.
Yeah, it's got to be some sort of
Publicity
publicity stunt.
Yes, I think so too.
Man, speaking
Maybe-
is hard for me today.
Maybe Fancy Feast sales were, going kerplunk.
And they're like, you know what would do better is if we sold these to humans. Genius.
Mm-hmm. They did it.
Well, we're talking about it today, so.
Yeah, here we are.
Good article. I like that article. That was good. All right.
I'm glad I don't live in New York City.
Same.
I have a very different article.
You do. This one was chosen for you. Let's just say that. But it's good.
Yeah. Wait, I chose this one.
Did you choose it?
No,
we'll give you credit. Did you?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't choose it.
The Lord chose this, maybe, if that's what you were trying to say.
I thought you were on vacation.
I was
on COVID
real vacation.
or something.
My goal is to never be on COVID. We all remember the cinematic masterpiece, Even Stevens. Honestly, just the casting.
Disney Channel.
Everything.
If you're not aware.
Yeah. Just prime television as a child.
What was so for those who are listening, who is the main actors in said show?
Shia
LaBeouf.
Beans, which I don't know.
I don't remember Beans'
I thought
real
Beans
name.
is just his name in general.
And then what was her name?
Ren.
Oh, you're doing this one. Okay, cool.
Ren, Even Stevens. I don't remember, but she's a cool
it's
person.
Something
Christy Carlson Romano. Also Italian.
Yeah. I'm not speaking names in no more.
Speaking the names no more. Anyway, so Shia LaBeouf is, he's out there. We know this. He's kind of a weirdo. So he's raised Jewish and Christian, but doesn't really pick up on either of these things throughout his lifetime. He's on the Hot Wings. I mean, he's made some great films, actually. Holes, another great movie.
That is a good movie. I was just talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, just a lineup of a lot of good films, but also equally weird things in his life. Anyways, he's filming this new movie about, I want to make sure I say his name right, which is also going to be Italian, Padre Pio.
That's Italian?
I think so.
Padre's...
Or Latin?
Padre is...
Father Pio?
I guess Padre could be... It's probably a...
Pio?
Po?
I don't know.
Pio.
I think that this man is a Franciscan monk, saint.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so through all of the filming and preparing for this, Shia LaBeouf is in a very dark spot in his life, actually on the brink of suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And so this story is just coming out. And honestly, as time is progressing, there are more developments to this. I think he's been sitting down for more interviews talking about this. So it's really fascinating. But he had a gun within reach ready to just fix his problems in his own way. But throughout all of this comes to have an interest in this deep, rich, traditional Latin Catholicism for this role that he's playing, and actually has given his life to Christ at this point. I say given his life to Christ with some hesitancy because I do not know enough about the Catholic tradition in a very traditional Latin sense. But he's working alongside a bishop who is walking him through what that looks like. And Shia LaBeouf actually speaks about I had a lot of these fleshly things that were going on, my ego and everything was getting in the way. And then God showed me how he flipped that and brought me to him through that. So a lot of the language that he uses seems very things are clicking for him and he's getting it. And so I just thought that was awesome. And it's hard, right? I think that we judge Hollywood a lot and say is it a publicity stunt? Is it going to help the movie make more? Right. Are they trying to get, people who maybe wouldn't go see this movie to now come to theaters and increase sales? But everything that I've heard and read so far, Shia LaBeouf seems like he's very, this is a huge turning point in his life for him. So hopefully that really is the case. But
well, I don't want to be a downer, but didn't he do the same thing with being not Catholicism, but not Orthodox, but what's the other word? No. What we are as Baptists, we are
Presbyterian. I mean, not Presbyterian.
No. Shoot, what is it called?
I'm really
What's the word I'm looking for?
Anglican?
Protestant. That's the word we're looking for.
Go.
Protestant. After he did the movie Fury, he was a a Bible character.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I feel like this is deja vu.
Maybe.
Deja LaBeouf, if you will.
Maybe this is the time.
Maybe it is.
Right.
He did say, and I thought this was interesting, like, in my mind, sometimes when I think about people who are non-believers, like what's appealing to them would be things that, like entertainment. So like entertainment value seems like a big thing that draws people in. Mm-hmm. He actually said the opposite. So he is deterred from churches who like go up there and play guitar and lead worship in that sense because it doesn't feel authentic to him. Mm-hmm. So that's why like this very traditional Catholicism and with a lot of like the strong Latin influences is what he feels is genuine. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that is so fascinating. So I really hope this one.
Yeah. Cynically, you can look at it one way, but it could also just be a part of his faith journey. Yeah. Every time he's encountered, quote, some type of, form of Christianity that he's influenced by it. Mm-hmm. And just goes back to, I think we're going to be worshiping something, mm-hmm. and we're not living right. You find something that inspires you. You're going to give it a try.
I don't know how you can do the hot wings challenge and not meet the Lord during that. So
I feel like you've probably come as close to heaven as most mortal people.
And we've all done the hot wings challenge.
No, I have not. Well, I have. Okay, so hold up. This is a very weird segue, but have everyone done a like Buffalo Wild Wings hot wings challenge before?
I've done it with kids ministry here.
Me too.
I did the Buffalo Wild Wings challenge.
Absolutely not.
So hey, here you go. Mm-hmm. Here's one thing that when we talked about the last podcast of things that we did in school that was not good. So I skipped class one day, senior skip day. But it wasn't. But no. We did it on a different day because they told us that year if you skipped on that day, you would get detention or they threatened you. So we did it a different day. So we decided that we were going to go do the Buffalo Wild Wings hot wings challenge.
Nice.
First warning sign that we shouldn't have. We had a small minor earthquake that morning in Rogers, Arkansas.
I remember.
Yeah, wow. It was back in like 2010. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2010.
I was in my English class.
Yeah, we had a small earthquake that morning, and we still did it. I got through like maybe 5 wings, and I almost passed out.
Wow.
I was shaking, and I couldn't breathe, and like, yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That's
it's
a little
just
bit,
hot sauce.
Right. When we do, I mean, you did the same one that I did, but at different times, but.
I had to put my hair in a ponytail.
Really?
Yeah.
I was like, my kids make fun of me because like I like everything mild. I don't like hot anything. No, same. And so like,
I'm more of a medium guy.
For barbecue, I like, there's one of them called sassy sauce. So my kids like.
Sassy sauce?
Yes. They always make fun of me for that one. But they were dying.
Sassy.
They were dying. And then I was just eating it like nothing. Yeah. I was like, I think
so you like to enjoy your food.
Yeah. I like winning for one. And it was a competition. But
good.
But yeah. But I don't know how we got on this. But
sorry, that was a very weird segue to that question.
But yeah, that's interesting. And
Shia LaBeouf.
So it is interesting. It's just like, man, if we can just get the gospel in front of people, if we can,
Well, and like, I used to get so, and I still do, I used to get so pumped up about Hollywood hearing the gospel, people who are in Hollywood, because of the influence they have on others is massive. Yep. Like, can you imagine? I mean, Justin Bieber, back and forth. But
again, like it's a journey. Like I know some people give him a really hard time, but it's like, you know what? You try being famous like he is.
Yeah, exactly. At 16. So, and like he is out here talking about Christ to millions of people. And he goes to a church where
had a lot of issues, you know what I mean? So it's got to be confusing. So yeah.
But just how that would change our world if more people who had that kind of influence really were on fire for Christ.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the way I'm going to choose to look at it. Every time he's encountered some form of Christianity, he's been inspired by it, trying it out.
Obviously, it's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Hopefully, he's not just doing it for the money and to get people to go see a show.
I mean, if he was, I wouldn't have chosen Orthodox Catholicism.
Right, yeah. But
there were many other options.
Yeah, a big population of our country would, for sure. So this is probably a good segue into the deep dish, So let me talk about that one. There was an article that I found and kind of made you talk, bring up the one that you just covered that I thought was really good. Digital religion makes faith experience richer for millennial believers. So, and they define that. And I just thought this was so interesting. I'm going to pull up. I actually copied and pasted that article so I can pull up highlights on it. But so they are defining millennials, about 18 to 35 years old. And 1980, and so the math doesn't work, so this must be like a year old or two. But if you were born between the years of 1984 and 2001, they're defining you as a millennial.
Yeah, this study was in 2019.
Yeah, so every one of these can be a little bit, every definition of millennial can be a little bit different. I thought that by this definition, my son's a millennial, but by other ones, he's a Gen Z. But I thought this was really, first of all, when you look at the title, Digital Religion Makes Faith Experience Richer for Millennial Believers, some people are going to have a reaction like, no, you know what I mean? But what's y'all's thoughts? You guys were born, when were you born?
91.
93.
Okay. So you guys are smack dab in the middle of this. So do you agree or disagree? And it's not a trick question. Yeah. I mean, but what's your thoughts? How has the digital form of faith, religion, how has it impacted you?
My initial reaction is that I think the headline is a headline, right? It's attention grabbing and it's clickbait. But my initial reaction is to not agree in the sense that everything feels less real online. But I will say the frequency of which you consume content that has a spiritual background is like through the roof. Like you can stumble upon anything religious at any point in the day.
Right.
Like the doom scroll that we get into, and a lot of people spend a lot of their time doom scrolling and you just can't get out of it. And so the likelihood of something religious popping on your screen at that point is there. So I see like the benefit to it, but if I don't really know that I feel like it's enriching our spiritual growth.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's interesting how this article doesn't include 2020. So it was done in 2019, which is very interesting because I'm sure the numbers would have exponentially grown because of how things played out in 2020, especially in the church world. For us that work at a church, we saw how a lot of things went to digital because of not being able to meet in person. But it is interesting to say that they declared that this was a thing, like that millennials are finding a deeper faith and religion because of digital means, which then goes back to like whenever the Bible app first came out, the YouVersion Bible app, how that's exploded over the past years that it's been, how people nowadays don't carry a physical Bible anymore. Most of them are on the phone, and I do. I mean, like on my phone, it's convenient, and you have all the translations you ever need. And so in that sense, I can see, okay, yes, it's been supplementary to make your faith grow because it's been a tool. But in the other sense, how deep is that relationship and how deep is that faith because of digital media? Like Ali was saying, that a lot of this stuff is not very deep. It's very surface level. But not to say that it's not possible to be in a deep relationship and deep faith because of digital media, but it's a lot easier to hide behind a keyboard and mouse and a phone than it is to meet in person and talk and have real relationships that way. Because I think because of the church in the way that it's set up, deep, meaningful relationships with church members is how Christianity is supposed to work. And so I have a hard time believing it as well.
I think one of the things that I've observed that is kind of fascinating to me is people who I don't think are believers are having some kind of weird influence on believers. And like you'll see a lot of like reposting of said people or resharing and for whatever reason, a lot of it, what I see is like art almost on Instagram, and it's like people are resharing this, and it has like for them, it has some deep faith-based purpose. And I'm like, this girl is literally just creating stuff to grow her platform and
content.
I'm like, it's I guess in a sense, like, it's kind of great that you can find something from it. Yeah. But I don't know if the intention, that's another part that I struggle with.
It's hard to
like, was the intention really there for me to go deeper in my faith, or like, am I just kind of taking something out of context and forcing it to grow my faith, you know?
Yeah. Yep. The article, you guys are kind of hitting some of the highlights on there, because obviously, and you guys know this, your generation is definitely the smallest, or how would you say this, the least percentage that are engaged spiritually. And so it says that some 29%, it's talking about like Canada and the United States in both. So in Canada, 29% of Canadian millennials go to church or use digital content spiritually at least once a month. So 29%. That's higher than I thought, to be honest.
Once a month? Mm-hmm. It's a pretty low bar.
Yeah. And then in the United States, it's 41% of millennials said that they consume religious or spiritual digital content at least once a month. So
my question here is, it goes back to all these polls, is like, what is the definition of digital consumption? Like, does that mean me pulling out my Bible app during church service, or does it mean that I'm literally saying, oh, well, this counted as my spiritual thing, I'm checking that box?
I think they would. I think they're, from what the article's saying, is anything that's non-traditional. So going to church, being there.
Outside of that.
Everything outside of there. Everything that you would find on your phone. So even reading a digital version would count if that was something that you did on a regular basis. Okay. And so, in short, I think it is very supplemental for a lot of us. For most Christians that do go to church once a month or more, then there's a high percentage of those that are millennials that also at least see something of religious value on the internet or something like that. Yeah. It says here that we found that while digital religion isn't necessarily attracting a lot of new millennials to participate, it is making the experience of those already involved richer. I'd say that that's probably pretty accurate. They were saying only 5% of millennials that don't go to church, they don't go anywhere, 5% of the population of those millennials that are completely unchurched view some type of spiritual content online. It doesn't even say Christian. So I thought that was just really interesting with that. And some do a great job. Like, I listen to Sean McDowell. There's another guy, Mike Winger. Like, you can see people posting and engaging that are atheists, that are seekers. And so there's a small select few that are probably doing a great job with engaging people, but for the most part. So let me, I'm going to read you a couple of things out of the article and let me know what your thoughts are. As rates of more conventional religious practices, such as in-person religious services, have fallen in more recent years among younger generations, the expansion of the internet in our lives have meant that a larger portion of millennials are coming into somewhat regular contact with religion and spirituality online. So are you saying that is a good thing or a bad thing? That it's kind of shifting,
I think,
towards more and more.
I think that's where people are, and I understand why churches are trying to tap into that, like
including us,
trying to figure out, okay, how do we go this route? But I think a church can go too far. I've seen churches go to services on the metaverse, like on Facebook metaverse. It's weird. Not saying that will never work or if that's bad. I mean, anywhere you're reaching people with the gospel is good, but it's just kind of odd that you can try to gain a deep relationship in something that's not real, like the metaverse.
Yeah, it's like a twofold thing. The missionary heart in me is like, let's create that platform.
Meet people where they are.
Meet people where they're at. But then it's also, you create it and you're going to be tempting every younger person that's like, I could just do this at home. I grew up in church. My parents made me go in high school. I'll just attend while in college on the metaverse. And so it's like drawing people away from real authentic community. So, yeah.
It's very interesting. And it's like mind-boggling too. Like I feel like I could talk circles around it all day and never get to like a defined point of this is how I actually feel about it. I was at a conference recently and the speaker was talking about it was in a conversation about the metaverse, but how digital religion is growing. And there's a story of this man who was using, I think it was Roblox was the game or something, to like witness to people. He met this girl on there. I mean, it's a character, so you don't actually ever know the person in real life, but her tag was like, her name was like something about a Satanist, and she was a Satanist. And so he met online with her and play games. I sound like I'm describing something weird. It is weird, but anyways.
It's pretty normal place now.
Yeah, it's so normal. And I'm like, I feel old even trying to talk about this. But anyway, she came to know the Lord through his conversations with her. Because of the different, I think they even live in different countries. Oh. She didn't have anyone around her who was a believer. She didn't have any churches around her or anything. And it's not that she's in a remote location, but the area that she's in is unengaged, unreached probably. Yeah. And so this guy in the Roblox game, she wanted to be baptized. Well, the only way he could baptize her was to baptize her character. So there's like a river in the game.
Whoa. That'd be a good theology.
And so like, yeah, I mean, it really does open the question of they are conversing with one another in a chat room kind of situation. And I mean, you know, I've had friends who have met online dating who are married today and have great marriages, but like, it's not to say that those things can't work, but there is this part of me that's unsettled saying like, I don't know that she was true. Like I 100% cannot confidently say like, yeah, she was truly baptized. Right. And, you know, I mean, if there's no one to really ever follow up with her, I think there's a lot of true community that happens in person. And I think that's like, I think God intends that for us too. Yeah. And he uses the interwebs to change things, but if I was hard.
Church of Christ, I would be freaking out right now. But know that I'm not.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, you want her salvation to be locked in and you want her to know without a doubt. And you also want to know that without a doubt. But
well, and that is amazing. Tough. It is cool for me to wrap my mind around. And I know like my son, he used to do a lot of video gaming and he would interact with friends back in Colorado while they're playing games. And so I feel like I know a little bit about it, but it is kind of amazing to think that you can hold conversations through these games, and there's a creepy aspect of it. Yep. Yeah. And even some people listening who weren't Christ followers, they'd probably like, well, that's creepy. Yeah. You know what I mean? But for us, you know, presenting what we feel like is the truth, you know what I mean? That can change a person's life, change their eternity. You know, that's amazing. And so, you know, whether that person's a Christian or not would be based on the same thing if it was a direct contact, face-to-face conversation. Yeah. The baptism thing, you know, I'll just go out there and say, I don't think that's a real baptism, but hey, you know, it's a good step.
The intent of the baptism is not there.
And it could even be meaningful. That could be a very meaningful thing for her, you know, but I would just say, you know, if she was able to get involved in a church in her area, you know, and be biblically baptized. The first quote in Baptist history, and for those of you that are history nerds, I think I'm getting this right, but don't. Yeah, so the first Baptist was baptized by someone that was in, I think, a Mennonite church. Because this was kind of during the Reformation, during that time, and your Mennonites, like they were anti-Catholic long before, you know, the Reformation. And so they were realizing we need to be baptized as adults after salvation. And none of them could baptize one another because none of them had been baptized biblically. And so they went to a Mennonite church and they were baptized.
Interesting.
Fun fact.
That is fun.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate. You might want to look that up. But
cool story, bro.
Alan just literally almost made all certain. That up.
Yeah, someone correct me if I'm wrong. You just put it down there. But I'm pretty sure that's right. But but interesting story. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, I think, with a lot of things like this, especially anything new, it's hard to wrap your mind around. Is this a good thing or not? And even with our church, we realize that like worship online and someone sitting down and watching it on their couch, like most of us did during COVID, long-term isn't ideal.
No.
But for those who are older, sitting in a hospital bed or can't get out, or for those that are just spiritually, not there, it's a great place to start.
I feel like the conversation was probably similar when churches started doing like television broadcasts.
Yeah.
Any change that's big where you aren't always going to meet people face to face probably creates this like sweaty palm situation in the church for a lot of staff and even members of like, well, are we still being real? Are we still being ourselves? Are we still, is the truth is the same regardless of how you share it. So,
yeah. So, and I know at our church, our goal is to engage them online and try to invite them into community. So I think it's a great platform, but it is interesting and it's here to stay. And
Bible says God will use what is foolish to man to do what he wants to. Because we might think this online gaming or whatever is foolish and is silly, but what's to say that a person who's never heard of Jesus has a dream about Jesus and is saved because of that?
Right.
Who's to say who's to say that's more impactful than what Allie's story was? So
absolutely.
The good thing is we don't have to worry about saving souls. We just got to preach the gospel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool. Very cool. I love stories like this. And I love finding articles where you can look at things from multiple sides.
It's definitely a gray area.
It is. And there's
we like the gray.
There's more of that than the black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always fun and interesting. So anyways, hey, we want to hear from you. So if you got an opinion on it, don't hesitate to post it down there and let us know. Obviously be kind as you do things and if you converse with one another, but it's fun to hear people's perspective on things like that. So we'd love to hear yours as well.
If you're out there saving people on Roblox, let us know.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
Is it Roadblocks or Roblox?
No, I'm under the impression it's Roblox.
Okay. With
an X at the end.
Okay.
And the graphics are like, I don't know. I don't understand that. Like
Minecraft world?
Yeah.
Feel? Okay.
Like graphics were like trying to be so freaky good and they were like super realistic. And then my nephews who are like 10 and 11 really got into like stuff that was, just right when I was born. I'm like, man, these are terrible. I had better graphics in my, 05 or maybe 2001.
GoldenEye.
Yeah, GoldenEye. That's exactly what I was going to say. And so I don't.
N64.
Anyways, kids are weird.
Yeah, kids are weird. That's old people up here.
You talking to the guy that had the Atari?
Get off my lawn.
Literally a block. It's a cube.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, good discussion. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and please share it with somebody you think that might be encouraging or whatever, might make them laugh. But we appreciate you.
This is the worst podcast ever.
Share
right.
it.
Please.
Just kidding.
Hey, right. Any news is good news, right? Or any publicity is good publicity.
Sure.
All right. God bless you guys. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.